Yo, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Excited to be back for another live stream. My name is Justin Moore. I'm the founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Today, we're going to be talking about, will a recession destroy influencer marketing and sponsorships? Was that title dramatic enough for you? Did you want to tune in and find out all the juicy little details about, man, what's a what's a recession going to do to my income, to my bank account? And you know that I had to invite a very special guest to talk about this juicy subject. Come on in here, D. We got D. Brissett, our community and programs manager here at Trending Family, here at Creator Wizard. What's going on, D? How are you today? Happy Friday.
Hey, Justin. Happy Friday. So good to be here. Hello, everyone.
All right. So, how's your Friday going, D? I was privately messaging D saying it's a beautiful day for a live stream, and I am excited to be talking about this topic because I think it's on a lot of people's minds, but it's not something that people like. I don't know. Some people I think don't like focusing on negative stuff, but I feel like if you're gonna, this is a reality for a lot of us too, right? You turn on the news and you hear it kind of every day, like, oh my gosh, like the latest doom and gloom headlines or something like that. And so I wanted to start off talking specifically about audience growth, D, because I think during uncertain times, I'm curious, how do you look at your own business in terms of your content strategy? Are you thinking about approaching things a little bit differently? Specifically with your niche, which is, you talk a lot about like Costco and shopping and all that stuff. Like, that's affecting people's pocketbooks, obviously, in terms of the supply chain. And man, let's talk about the price of eggs. That's still crazy, right? So, I don't know. How do you think about how your content strategy should change during these times?
Yeah. So, first of all, I wanted to say hi to Cal. Cal in the chat said hello to us. Hey, Cal. It's so nice to see you here. Yeah.
Good
So,
to see
my
you.
strategy has shifted quite a bit because of what's going on in the economy today. So, for those of you, for those of you who don't know, I am a content creator as well, and I share the latest sales and deals available at Costco Canada because I'm based here in Canada, and I experience a lot of growth in the last year, even through the hard times. I have grown. I don't even know how much, but I would say I've grown like over 5,000 subscribers within the last year to start. And it's been quite the journey. But what I've noticed about my content strategy that had to change is, initially my concept idea and my strategy involved just sharing like the newest products, right? Like the products that are priced like at crazy numbers, and maybe there's like a few people out there that would buy these things, but they are good for attracting new audiences and things like that. And I stopped that mentality of, it's got to be like the newest, the best thing that I showcase to my audience. And then I started connecting with my audience on a deeper level. I started to find out like what some of their issues were, what are some of the setbacks they're going through at the moment. And pretty much everyone is struggling with the prices increasing. So what I did to kind of jumpstart my strategy again in hard times, so I didn't stay at a standstill, was I started focusing on sales. I started focusing on ways I can actually save people money. So it was no longer, here's this cool product to try out and think about getting. It was like, here's this item that's half the price cheaper than it was last week. I know this because I've been watching it every week for like 2 months. So this is your opportunity to get it. And what's happened in return is my audience, they're sharing my videos with their friends, their family. They're just super excited that there's someone out there who is helping them understand what a good deal is, and who actually goes out every week and hunts down these amazing prices. And from that, there's been so much growth, even in the hardest times. And I polled my audience just recently, actually, and I asked, how is your spending going? How's your budgeting going? The majority of my audience voted and said that they're going over budget, but even though they're going over budget, they're saving more money than they were before. And that's where I come in to help. So it's good to understand what's happening, and it's really good to understand how you can help those who are in your audience, because if you can help them, they're going to help your numbers, and it's just a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a super critical point, which is just like, you can't to some degree, you can't be tone deaf of like what's going on in people's lives, especially if your niche affects, like the folks in your niche, like that this is affecting them potentially disproportionately, right? And so I think that's a really smart approach. Have you been having similar conversations with brand partners, like perhaps seeing them shift their messaging, or whereas they would have talked about a campaign a little bit differently in the past? Like have you seen people wanting to be more sensitive to like the economic times, or not really?
I have actually noticed that brands are a little bit more sensitive to the times because they've realized that it's not a matter of do people have the money for these products, it's do they want to spend their money on this product. And so what I've learned throughout the last year is a lot of the brands that I connect with, they're more so interested in long-term partnerships. And I think it's because brands are starting to see that there is good in building trust and having something familiar that pops up in a feed, as opposed to like, here's this other person and 10 other people. Instead, they're starting to realize there is a strategy that helps the brand succeed when working with people for a longer period of time. And in return, I have the same thing to offer, right? Because as they've been building their strategy, I've been building my audience and finding out what's important to them. So I can help kind of bring those two sides together. And essentially that is how I've been able to manage it all and just stay up to date with everything that's going on, because brands are noticing that things are changing and they're starting to realize more and more that trust is everything. Why should they trust to buy your product? Why should they trust to buy your service? And I have no problems sharing exactly how they can do that.
Love to hear it. Love the confidence. Let's get some cha-ching and some applause in the chat for that one. Thanks again for
confidence, Justin.
It's the Brand Deal Wizard confidence. Great segue, D. You guys probably noticed I put this fancy little ticker on the bottom of the screen here, just as a reminder that enrollment for Brand Deal Wizard cohort number 8 is ending on Sunday. So if you've been following, us at Creator Wizard for a while, you know that we teach a course called Brand Deal Wizard 3 times a year, and cohort number 8. This is our winter cohort. And super excited for it. It's the first session, first live session starts on Tuesday, and so really excited about this. If you aren't familiar with everything that we teach in there, you can go to branddealwizard.com and read all about it. There's a ton of information there, and it's just like it honestly is the highlight of our year. I would say, I'm speaking for you, D, but the highlight of our year whenever we're able to do this. And we already have a ton of amazing creators who have signed up. Excited to chat a little bit more about that throughout the stream. But you mentioned something that's a great segue to the next topic, which is just like the brand's kind of sensitivity to this space right now. And when it comes to like getting more sponsorships, more like generally, right, you're trying to lock in maybe some longer term deals. I just wanted to kind of share a quick anecdote around the volume of like whether or not deal flow has decelerated. I've gotten this question a few times. In fact, I've been doing a couple Q&A calls live over Zoom during the enrollment period for the course. And several people have asked about this, which is like, what does this mean for like deal flow generally? Are you seeing like reduction in the opportunities and all this stuff? And the answer that I had wanted to share here as well, which is that I am seeing about a 10% reduction year over year in terms of inbound deal flow. And so in terms of like the amount of people proactively, speculatively reaching out to me, as well as creators in our network, just like holistically across everyone that I'm kind of talking to. And so it is, you are seeing a little bit of softness in that regard. However, and to add to that, certain niches I think are a little bit harder hit than others. So like, for example, gaming, political commentary, comedy, the niches that are a little bit on the bleeding edge, they're a little bit less family friendly. I think that, if you're looking at the kind of tried and true niches that are family friendly, family, food, travel, beauty, fashion, hospitality, finance, like these types of niches, in my experience, brands tend to kind of recede to the safer niches, the ones that are a little bit more predictable in terms of the ROI. Hey, if we partner with this lifestyle creator, if we partner with this family creator, if we partner with this B2B creator, niche creator, like it's a little bit more predictable about what the return is going to be. And so in times of economic uncertainty, I have found over the last decade plus of doing this that, brands are still investing. They can't stop advertising, right? They're still investing in doing campaigns with creators, but they're just a little bit more conservative with who they'll partner with. And so I think it's like, I'm going to give it to y'all straight. Like, this is an important thing to consider when you think about what is my niche, what's the type of content I'm creating. If you are deriving a significant portion of your income from sponsorships, like this is something to consider. That being said, and I'm curious your perspective here, D2, is like, I have not seen really any slippage in terms of the proactive pitching that we're doing. And maybe you can talk a little bit about the importance of proactive pitching, D, kind of regardless. We talk about this in week 1 of the course, but like the importance of proactive pitching, regardless of where you're at on your creator journey, because I think a lot of people think it's only for like creators at the outset of their journey, right?
Yeah, so I guess I should start with the fiscal years, right? Some brands, they start their year over in January, right? And for a lot of creators, they find that in January and February is their dry spout. Basically, they don't have a lot of inbound opportunities rolling, and they're starting to get to that point where after that holiday high where everyone has so much deal flow usually rolling in, that there's just a couple months and still, and then it starts to get really, really scary. And what I've noticed during those times is that when things get a little bit scary, sometimes you can lose sight on the mission, lose sight on the focus. And really, the only way to stay consistent with having brands in your inbox, continuously negotiating, continuously, having conversations to find out like what their goals are, right? And sharing like how you can help that come to life. The real secret here is taking that into your own hands, and you have to start pitching these brands yourself. So if you're not confident in actually reaching out to these brands and making a proposal, sharing an offer without being scared, they'll take your idea and run with it. There's so much that you can do to kind of help that consistency keep rolling. That way, when those dry spots happen, they happen for shorter periods of time. They're more predictable because you can kind of see when you have less brands in your inbox. And I mean, at the end of the day, creators are brands and you're responsible for your own brand, right? So if you feel like you don't have enough conversations on a weekly basis, it's up to you to take that into your hands and do something about it. And the simplest way that you can start doing something about it today, if you wanted to, is to literally just start pitching those brands. If you know how, we teach that in Brand Deal Wizard. You'll become a pitching expert, after going through the course. When I took course it hasn't even been 2 years ago. I think it's been a year and a half and some change, perhaps. But I remember feeling scared to death to reach out to brands. I felt like, how do I even know what to say? And when they say something, like, what do I say back? So if you feel like you're in that space, or if you feel like you've had a few of those dry spouts, maybe it wasn't in January and February, maybe it's in the summer, maybe you have your own off season. If you're tired of having the off season, you have to take it into your own, start pitching brands yourself.
Man, I mean, I can't believe that it's been less than 2 years since you took the program, D. That's like pretty remarkable, how far you've come in that short amount of time. That's seriously insane. Cal says here in the chat, I'm gonna pull you up here. Cal says, if you're serious about working with brands, you need to sign up for Brand Deal Wizard. I use the info I learned in the course daily. Come on, Cal, come on. Let's get some cha-chings for that. Love to see it. And I love seeing all y'all Brand Deal Wizard alums who show up in the chat here. Like, let's actually acknowledge this real quickly, okay? Which is that we have quite a few alums that show up every single week to these live streams. So it's like, that is an illustration of what it takes in terms of a commitment to learning and talking about these things and improving, regardless of when you took the course. If you took it in the past, like that to me is proof. Like Ashley, Cal, KMH, Family Hannity, like all of you guys who show up every single week here, you are putting in the work to get better at this stuff. And that is one of the big takeaways that I think you'll find from the course, is that this is not just like a get rich quick scheme. This is something that it's a methodology, it's a philosophy of how you're going to continuously learn throughout your creator journey. And this is something that, if you pick up a few new tactics here and there, that could profoundly impact your income, right? And so I think that I just want to acknowledge y'all in the chat here who show up all the time here, because like you are living proof of the fact that you put the time in, you put the repetitions in, and you'll yield amazing results. So let's give it up. Let's get some golf claps, or some mind blown emojis, some diamonds in the chat for y'all. And real quickly before we move on to, I do want to talk about just kind of general diversification and the importance of that during uncertain economic times like that too. But when it comes to like getting more sponsorships and having those conversations and being able to articulate that value to brands, how do you approach, like I'm imagining, Dee, that you perhaps maybe shift your strategy to be a little bit maybe more explicit in terms of how you're going to help brands achieve ROI, right? Because a lot of it comes down to like brands needing to kind of CYA. They need to cover their butts, right, to their superiors or their colleagues, or if it's an agency, to their client, and say like, hey, we're protected here. The creator has like a very robust proposal of like, how they're going to help us get a return on this. So like, how do you manage those conversations, Dee, when it's a little bit more unpredictable?
I feel like when it's unpredictable, you have to look at the basics, right? Like risk assessment. Are you a risk to this brand? Maybe is it a friendly brand? Do you curse often? Do you post content that maybe a family-friendly brand wouldn't align with necessarily? Are you someone who's been consistent? Do you have the proof to show that you're consistent? How confident are you at even knowing how to get that brand their return on investment? So I feel like it's a mix of knowing what questions to ask, obviously, and also knowing how to position your brand, make sure that you're always representing your brand really well. I think all those little things do help you to sort of bypass any of the hiccups with like the uncertain times, or just trying to prove like how a brand can get their return on investment. You cannot help that brand get their return on investment if you don't know what their goals are, right? Like, you don't know, if you're not asking some of these questions to find out more details to help make sure that the partnership is successful, or perhaps you're just having a hard time trying to figure out how to make a partnership successful from start to finish, because there's levels to this. First of all, there's levels to it, and there are so many steps that you have to go through before the partnership is in completion. So knowing all the stages, knowing what you need to ask to get a little bit more information, knowing what to offer for the delivery is super important. And you should also be comfortable knowing, if you're having a hard time, what kind of guarantee you can give to that brand. Could it be something, a view amount? Could it be something like a specific amount of signups? Can it be something like a link that is, in your emails or your videos for a period of time? Knowing what's important to the brand is how you're going to help them get their return on investment. So if you're not taking the time to figure that out, you're not doing yourself justice, because it's going to be a little bit harder for you to, actually bring to life what they're asking without knowing all the pieces and what's really important. Because I find that oftentimes brands and creators as well, we have a habit of doing this where we want it all, right? We want it all in one package. But then when you start to see what goes into this package, you have to understand, okay, I know I want the cone with all the toppings. Let's start with a couple toppings first. And then let's build on it and see how many toppings we can stack before it all falls over. Because when you get too eager and offer the world and then you're not able to deliver it, that was on you. You offered to do all those things. So being able to know what you're signing up for, what you're offering, your statement of work to be, and just exactly what the brand wants and how you can help them get there. Like, all those things are super important. So don't skip those steps, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I want to acknowledge here Liz Bianco in the chat here. I think Liz, you may have just emailed. I think I saw D, you responded. Liz, you sent us a message about the program. Liz is asking, what about small channels with a short history and under 1,000 subs? And you know what, Liz, I'm really glad you asked this, because this is a perfect opportunity to talk about the diversification aspect of being a creator, how sponsorships and other revenue streams should play into your business. Because I think when a lot of people think about diversification, they think that means, I just have like a bunch of income streams. Maybe it's like affiliate income, and maybe it's like direct, maybe you have a Patreon, or maybe you have merchandise or digital products, a community, whatever. And yes, like that is, when you think about a diversified business, my business at Creator Wizard is like that. There's a lot of different channels and ways in which we're deriving income. But what I wanted to talk about here with respect to diversification is how that can actually be an exponential factor to your sponsorship strategy. Because let me explain. So recently have been in several negotiations with prospective partners who want to, collaborate with us at Creator Wizard. And, you think about the traditional sponsorships, which is like, oh, I'll talk about this, brand on my YouTube channel or on our newsletter or on our, other social platforms, whatever. That's like a traditional sponsorship. But because we have gone down the road of diversifying in a couple different ways with our courses and with the newsletter and all, and the community, all this stuff too, it now opens up more channels for you to serve prospective sponsors, right? And an example of this is that one of the deliverables, one of the things in which we are, going to be serving these prospective partners is by highlighting them as a partner in our private community. So not only do we have a private community that we're able to serve our course, participants and our course students, but we're able to serve sponsors because the sponsors are really eager to get in front of their ideal customers who are, intermediate to advanced business savvy creators, right? So it's like, if you start to think about the second order advantages, the second order implications of having some of these other revenue streams, it starts to become a really interesting way to boost, to bolster your sponsorship strategy, because now you it's not that you're just offering, placement on your sub 1,000, YouTube channel or something, Liz. It's now you're saying, oh, I have this private community now, and you're, maybe you have people paying you to be in that community, but that may be something that you can offer to brands as part of the sponsorship. Hey, you could come in, do a webinar, to my, we'll do this joint webinar or something like that. Like, that is a sponsorship. It's a little bit non-traditional, but I don't know, like, what are your thoughts on how you think about the kind of the diversification aspect? Because I just get so excited geeking out about this topic, especially in the course. We talk about this a lot, is like, how are the ways in which you're serving not only your audience, but prospective brands? So what are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, well, first of all, Justin, you're not being honest. You geek out about anything sponsor and negotiation related.
That is true. 100% true, D. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And so with that being said, I feel like, we do a good job at teaching, the importance of diversifying, and we also do the work ourselves with diversifying. And the thing is, Liz, you mentioned like small channels with like under 1,000 subscribers. Some brands are actively searching for creators who have a small following. So it's not something that always doesn't work in your favor. There's good in having small numbers. What I did, a year ago when I had 1,000 subscribers, I literally just focused a lot of my energy in just getting to know my audience a little bit more. I started to realize that different platforms had a different audience. And as I grew, on more platforms, my main platform is YouTube. And I've always been on Instagram. So about a year ago, I hopped on TikTok because I needed to be on TikTok. I needed to be able to offer that in my packages, right? And then I decided I also wanted to start a private Facebook group because it got a little bit scary with all the social media wars going on, like people were just not sure what was going to last, what wasn't going to last. And so, Justin, you brought up this idea a while back, and it's always stuck with me, and it's always been a priority in my mind. And it's how to convert my audience on a social platform and having them convert over to an owned platform. So that could be my own newsletter that I send out on a weekly or monthly basis. That could be something like my own Patreon or private community where I have members pay to join in. Right now, my extra offer is my private Facebook group. It's free for everyone to join, but I have emails. Right? And so as I'm growing my email list, I'm kind of securing myself for the what if something like a platform didn't what I do now. I wouldn't have to start all over. And so, Liz, what I love about your numbers is that you're in the early stages and you have all the time right now to start nurturing your audience. And you have all the time right now to start building what your foundation is going to look like in a year. So, right now you're ahead of everything, right? Like there's no scare to your channel or your content or your strategy. What we do have now is you have the idea in mind that you do want to grow. Now it's about laying down those stepping stones to ensure that you grow. And being on more than one platform is helpful, right? But you also know that any chance you can get to have these subscribers, these followers actually share their email with you so that you can contact them in the event you change your direction, because we change directions all the time. Like, my channel was not always about Costco. In the early days, it was about reviewing baby products and sharing motherhood related things, and over time things changed and my audience changed, and it grew when I started learning how I can actually help people. And you'll notice a lot of growth on your business end, and also on the end with working with brands, when you have a clear vision and you have a mission and you have those stepping stones in mind, because no one else is really going to help you get to the part of your business that you want to get to. Like, that's something that you have to do. But you have to be super strategic about it. And the beauty in having small numbers is starting with the small numbers. That means you get to nitpick every little detail that you like, don't like. You get to draw the picture, plan the course, and you get to bring that to life. And when you reach a point where you're at 5,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers, whatever that number is to you, a lot of the really big creators, for example, like, Lily Singh or Patrick Starr or anyone else who's like a really big name that you might aspire to be, they all had a number goal in mind. They all had some sort of idea of what success would look like for them. And when they reached that number, when they reached that level, they were like, okay, now the next thing is this, right? So if you know that everyone else who are at these higher levels of their journey that you would maybe aspire to be, start planning that out for yourself too, right? Start planning, I'm not really that confident working with brands. Okay, how are you going to get more confident working with brands? How are you going to get more sponsorships? What's your plan to get that in motion? If you want to grow your audience size, how are you going to grow your audience size? What's your plan to get that done? So it's really being able to pinpoint what your setbacks are, what your hot spots are, and being able to know when they're coming, so you already know what to do. Because the time you spend stalling or trying to decide back and forth is time that you're wasting, and you're going to be further ahead of your journey later if you make those little mistakes, or if you try to take those chances earlier on than later on. For me, I grew a lot when I finally decided I'm going to rip the band-aid off and just go for it. There's no harm in that, because the beauty in being a creator is you can create content about anything that you want. So if your mind changes, that's fine, but you need to have your audience, have access to your audience. If you choose to change your mind or leave a platform, it'll only help you in the long run.
100%. Yeah. And I think this is a great opportunity I do want to talk about, turning gifted offers into paid partnerships, because I think that's a big sensitivity for folks, as well as like quitting your 9 to 5, because oftentimes that tends to be like a very an aspirational goal for a lot of creators. But I want to take a pause for a moment here and just share a little bit more info about Brand Deal Wizard. I am going to share my screen because I thought, why not? That would be fun, right? Let's share the screen and talk about it, Dee. Which is, again, enrollment is ending on Sunday, and it's capped at 50 creators, and we're getting up close to that limit. So if you are interested in participating, definitely would encourage you to check it out here. We have a massive amount of testimonials on there too. Caitlin said, within 2 weeks, I signed $30,000 in contracts. Now I'm making $40,000 to $50,000 a month. What? Obviously, this is a crazy testimonial, but you'll see here, if you scroll down here, we literally have hundreds of testimonials now, y'all. This is our 8th cohort. And so many creators have been through this program. So regardless of your niche or, the type of content you make or what platform you're on, there is someone here that you could probably identify with. So we talk a lot about, what it actually takes to develop a robust and sustainable strategy working with brands. One of the things I think we're most excited about, I wanted to find it here because I just added it here, is this brand new sponsorship wheel snapshot that we've created here. So you can see this. I mean, like, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Come on, it's beautiful, right? We had an initial version of this that we had, but I hired our designer to kind of make it look a lot more pretty. And it's actually an assessment that you can take, regardless of whether you choose to take the program or not. I highly would encourage you to check this out, because it helps give you a baseline of like where you are currently at in each of these 8 steps when it comes to developing a consistent income working with brands. And so would really recommend you take this and kind of get that evaluation, because it could be very helpful. The kind of the behind the scenes is that you take it initially when you start the program, and then you take it again at the end to see how you've grown. So it's like, I don't know about you, D, but I'm so excited about this sponsorship wheel snapshot, and the utility and the value that it's going to have for folks. But yeah, if you want to see the breakdown in terms of all the different weeks, obviously Dee teaches office hours, and she can kind of share tell us a little bit about the magic about office hours, Dee.
Well, the magic about office hours is that, number one, I'm your host. And then number two,
exactly.
I started with the biggest win there, but I mean,
the most important
all the
thing.
aspects of office hours are really great. So it's just an opportunity for you to have extra time to recap the lessons that we learn in the main sessions. It's also a great time to dive deeper into things that will unlock your mindset. Maybe there's something that you were stuck on, or maybe it's just, you don't have much confidence. So being able to be in a room with other people and hear their stories and ask questions, get them answered, get an extra, few minutes to go over concepts that, Brand Deal Wizard is a very advanced course. We talk about very complex things that not only work for your creator business, but your business in general. So I personally have spoken to so many people who have joined office hours, who have joined a Brand Deal Wizard, of course, and they come back to me and share insights like, the teachings that we've learned are applicable in everything. Like, I landed a job because of what I learned in Brand Deal Wizard, or I was able to negotiate like a 12-month contract with 6 figures because like I enrolled in Brand Deal Wizard, right? Like, and also, it's very lonely as a creator, full transparency. Before I took Brand Deal Wizard, I couldn't even find where to find creators to talk to about things. And now with the community space, with people in your cohort that you grow to build connections with, Justin, I think there's a few cohorts where students are meeting up with people in real life outside of the course because they build those connections. So it's just a great way to get extra resources, extra help, extra learning, and to just really make sure that you get a full understanding of what we cover. Our goal is that you succeed, right? So if you're putting in the work, if you're showing up to the sessions, if you're getting all the extra resources, there's wins coming for you. It just starts with you putting in the work. So I'd love to have you all in office hours. It's always a fun time for me. Justin gets excited about just the launch in general, but I get excited about all the moving pieces of the launch.
Yes,
so I'm excited about the first session. Justin's, noises and all the buttons that he presses.
Noises? Is that what you think of me?
What do you call what you're doing over there?
I call it sound effects. Sound effects.
Come
on, I've got a lot more than just these. I do jokes. I've got joke drums. When I say things that are kind of like crazy, I've got crickets. I've got a lot. When I'm talking about a brand that we don't like, I've got this. I've got a lot of things, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
you want that.
In general is just it's like an energy ball, and what I find
it really is.
what I find even in my creator journey is that I just get so much more motivated to do the tasks that I don't actually enjoy doing, because it's like everyone else is so hype about this one thing. Like, I'm just gonna send the 5 emails I've been waiting to send, and everyone's celebrating their wins. They're helping each other out. It's just a great place to be, and I'm proud that it's a community that I'm a part of, and also so proud that there's so many amazing people who make the community space what it is. So I've talked a lot about, obviously, office hours.
Yeah. Angie has a question here. She says, I'm thinking about it, but I'm in a very tight niche. It seems like she's doing wigs and beauty. What are your thoughts on like whether being in a tight niche, like whether Brand Deal Wizard is right for you?
I think being in a tight niche is awesome. You'd be surprised how many other creators are in a very tight niche. I'll speak from my personal experience. I'm the only person I've met who is in Canada making Costco videos. I know that there's a lot of people out there making Costco videos, but my niche is super specific because it's Costco Canada. And you would think it's not going to help, but the teachings are so incredibly ridiculously good that even with a very specific niche, it'll apply for you, because it's something that you attach to your personal journey. You can take things that really stick with you. Maybe there's other things that aren't really like what you would do. I remember in one of our last cohorts, Justin, there was an alumni in the class that said they don't like sending like those emails. It doesn't sound like them. They just feel really uncomfortable sending the emails. And now they send video pitches to these brands, right? So it's finding ways to make it more authentic to yourself, but having that knowledge to make you feel confident as you find the ways to make it authentic to yourself and your brand.
100%. And real quickly, I thought it'd be fun. I just pulled up, Angie, I just pulled up the private community where everyone's starting to introduce themselves for this cohort. And I wanted to give you a quick sampling of some of the niches of some of the creators, because you think you're niche. We literally 19 minutes ago just got an introduction from David, who is a trauma surgeon. His creator niche is he does reaction videos to like surgical history videos, building stuff. He has a newsletter called The Story Surgeon. So that's pretty niche. Wouldn't you agree, Angie? We have someone who their YouTube channel is all about 3D printing. Okay. And like being able to like, do arts and crafts and things like that with the things you're printing. We have Leia. She is the host of the podcast called Balancing Hormones Naturally. So she's all about like balanced hormones and stuff like that. Yes, balancing hormones. We have people who are doing like live streams. We have podcast. We have someone who does a podcast all for runners, all around how to run better. We have people who have newsletters. So it's like, this is just a short list of like the variety of different types of creators in here. And we have someone who historic conservation and family history work. Like amazing. What is Wade's handle again? I'm trying to remember what his it's called. The Millennial Stone Cleaner. He goes into cemeteries, cleans the headstones, the tombstones, talks about the history of who it is and all that stuff. These people are getting sponsorships. So you think that you're too niche, but in reality, there is a huge amount of opportunity to serve not only your audience in a more rich way, but also in a richer way, but also work with amazing brands. So I would challenge you on that, Angie, which I think that there's huge opportunity. And in fact, I like to say, like, the more niche you are, the more opportunities. Everyone thinks it's the opposite. Like, what brand would work with me? But in reality, now you are a much bigger fish in a smaller pond. Now you're not just another lifestyle creator. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like a lot harder to stand out. Like Dee said, I was just reviewing baby products or mom stuff, which is like, okay, yeah, congrats, you and like 10,000 other people or 100,000 other people, more than that. Right? It's like, I'm sorry. I kind of like, people call me their tough love mentor because I get a little passionate about these things sometimes, which is just like, you have to think a little bit more strategically about that. And I do want to move on to this topic around free products, because I think Liz and perhaps you, Angie, you guys are in these tight niche. I'm sure you get a lot of free stuff, right? Dee, you got a lot of free stuff, and it's still like even April and my wife and I, we have over 1 million followers across all of our platforms. We get free product offers in our inbox all day long, and so it's just like a lot of people. I know it's like a major friction and frustration point, and so I wanted to ask you, Dee, like, how do you, especially in this climate of economic uncertainty, like, you get an inbound request like, hey, free stuff. At first blush, it's like, cool. Like, I don't have to pay for this. That's nice. But what are your thoughts on like how you should handle that, especially like during these times?
I honestly feel like if you're 100% comfortable taking free products, I will not tell you not to take those free products. Instead, what I'll tell you is that there is a way for you to convert those free products into ones that pay. I get free product offers in my inbox on a weekly basis, and I say no to more than 95% of them, simply because a lot of these products I can buy myself, and I'm not going to do any work just to get a free product, because I can easily just go on out and buy it myself if it's something that's in alignment with my brand and my audience. And I think that it would be a great connection to connect that brand with my audience. I do have methods and ways that I've learned to help convert those offers, but it's beyond just, sure, I'll take that free product. That's really just not going to pay your bills. And in these uncertain times, you have to be more careful about what you accept as a free product and what's not. Right now, it's tax season, and there's a lot of creators who are now probably on the bad side of things because they've accepted so many free products and now they've got to claim all those things in their taxes. And was it worth it? Right? Did you earn from that? No. Instead, you have to pay because you wanted to accept a free product from time and time again. So it's thinking about the big picture. Sometimes it's okay. I mean, if Ben's came to me right now and said they're trying to give me a wagon, Justin, I'm sorry, I'm taking that G-Wagon, but if it's not a G-Wagon, we're going to have to talk about how I can help you get that product to my audience, but it's not going to be with just giving me a free product. It's having that confidence and knowing, there's a better way for you to get what you want from this. And if it's not the G-Wagon, you really have to just have that item in mind. What is that one item that you'll say yes without thinking? If it's not that item, start putting some time into thinking about it because you can earn extra income from those free offers.
Okay, Dee, first of all, tell me what is the fascination with the G-Wagon? I just don't get it. I just don't think it's that nice looking of a car.
Honestly, it's not my dream car, but I figured most people would have an idea of what the G looks like. I'm pretty sure my dream car costs like a good $50,000 more than the G-Wagon, but let's just not even. My husband.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. What car is even more expensive than the G-Wagon? Are we talking like a Lambo SUV or something? What are we talking here?
I like the BMW competition, the X5. They only make a few of them every year. I think it's like
the heck are you?
Listen.
Competition.
I don't want the basic model. I want all the bells and whistles. If they're not giving me the competition X5 with all the bells and whistles in my inbox, we're gonna have to talk about how there's some compensation for this offer. Okay. Are you looking at the car?
Maybe. I've never seen
BMW. Come at me in my inbox. I would love to partner with you.
X5. This is this one right here, the green one.
Yeah, the X5 competition, but it's competition.
What is so cool about it? Why is it so competitive?
When they start the engine, you'll know.
Wow, I never knew you were a car person, Dee. Dang, okay.
My husband is a car guy, so by natural, years of being 10 years of being married, I now want.
He's rubbed off on you.
Yeah. So if it's not leveling up to this in my inbox, we're gonna have to talk about something.
All right. Well, I now know what I need to get you for your Christmas bonus, I guess, maybe.
Yes, competition. Just get that CW logo on it.
once things really take off at Creator Wizard, I'll make sure to add that to the list. Okay, so good to know that you have your bucket list of free stuff, but let's talk about quitting your job because so two things here. One, so first of all, if you haven't listened to it yet, we just released a new episode of our brand new video podcast, Creator Debates, all about this topic of like being a full-time creator versus a side hustle creator. And we had two really awesome creators debating this topic of like, can you actually grow and succeed, make money, grow your business if you just kind of keep it as a side hustle? Because I think the majority of people actually are doing this as a side hustle. Everyone likes to, kind of talk up the, quitting your job and you're doing the whole full-time creator thing. But there's a lot of people like Jessica who was defending the side hustle, argument. Basically, one of her arguments was like, I like my job. Like, I'd be sad if I quit my job. Like, I like having both. And she had some other, she's caregiving as well. So she had some other, factors, obviously. But like, this is like a big thing for a lot of people is just like, the dream of being able to like do the creator business full time. My wife, April, and I have been, full-time creators for almost 10 years. Crazy. And so, but it's not for the faint of heart, right? It is, you don't have the predictable paycheck. You don't, in the US, you don't have a guaranteed health insurance. There's all these considerations that you can't stop giggling over there with your Canadian healthcare, Dee. But it's like, it's a thing, right? It's a thing. Definitely people think about it a lot. And so, okay, so here's my perspective real quick, which is that we have seen that in these economic times that even jobs that were once considered the most stable, like working at Meta or Google or Amazon or whatever, there have been a massive amount of layoffs. So like, I don't know. I kind of think like no one is safe. Like you're never like truly safe, I think. Right. And so I think we're, at least in my opinion, I think we're entering a new era where I think you owe it to yourself to kind of protect your future by creating alternative revenue streams, especially if you're already dabbling in being a creator, creating content and stuff. Like, I don't know, if I was looking at what's going on right now, that would just be way more motivation for me to really get serious about this stuff. What do you think about that, Dee?
I think first of all, there's billions of dollars going into this industry, number one. So once you understand that there's a lot of money going into this industry, it'll first give you the idea of what's hot for you to grab, number one. And then number two, with brands, just things are just unsure. It really, just as you said, Justin, it's up to you to secure that future for yourself. So being a creator can be for part-time if that's what you want. There are actually a lot of creators who were full-time who are now going to part-time. And you can also be a full-time creator if that's something that you want to do. I am a full-time creator. I post videos twice a week, every single week, never miss an upload, along with all the other work that I do in the creator industry. So there is good in securing income for yourself, because we don't know if you will always be able to make content, right? You won't know if you're always going to have that job that you want to hold on to. There's so much uncertainty going around that the only way to create certainty is to have consistent income rolling in, and you get to control what that income is going to look like for you. I know I talk to a lot of creators who are YouTubers, for example, and when you ask what their goals are, their goal is they want to get in the partner program for YouTube. They want to start making some money on AdSense. Let me tell you, it's going to be a few years before you start seeing like $20,000 on your monthly YouTube check. So you have to have something in motion before it gets to that point, because you first have to make $100 to get your first check. And for some creators, take a few months. YouTube strategy where I geek out, Justin. So knowing that these goals that you have could take time, you can help yourself reach different goals in shorter times by having that all planned out. I just reached 8,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. That is major.
Come on. Let's get some applause emojis in the chat for D. Come on, guys. Huge.
Thank you in advance, everyone. Yeah, that is huge for me. And I don't think that number is small, but the D I knew a year ago would have been looking at myself now like I'm some kind of, celebrity. Like, how did you get to 8,000 in like 1 year? Because I think I was at 300 for like 4 years. So these are things that happen. But if you work on your strategy, if you work on your growth, if you work on many goals instead of just the one, oftentimes you'll be in a situation where you are living your dreams and beyond. Like when I took Brand Deal Wizard, I thought, how is a course this amazing available for people to take? Like, this thing is absolutely amazing. Fast forward to a year and a half later, I've been working on the course since then. And it's an amazing feeling to know that I believe in something so much. It works so well. And now I get to help others get that same effect, get that same feeling that I have for the course. I told you I geek out on YouTube strategy, right? Like I now get to work on programs in partnership with YouTube Canada. That was never a part of my mission. That was never a part of my plan. But amazing things happen when you position yourself for success. And it all starts with there. What does success look like for you? What's your plan to help you reach success? And what are your action steps to getting yourself there? Because it's more than just creating the plan. It's more than just, I kind of do the work sometimes. You got to be willing to do the work all the time, because at all times you're representing your brand, and at all times it's your job to bring in that income. So you got to take it upon yourself. Don't be afraid to send a few emails. Don't be afraid to ask for what you deserve, right? Like if you want to make money working with brands, you got to start asking brands to pay you working with them. And if you don't know how, we cover all of that in our course, Brand Deal Wizard. So again, it's just an amazing course. If you're stuck on any of those things, if you just want to make sure you have that security, if you want to kind of jumpstart your career, you know, maybe help yourself get to that year mark a little bit sooner, it would definitely be the right option for you. I've taken the course myself. I love it. I am a walking example of just how many good things can happen in your career from starting with believing in yourself and just following the framework that works. It's all you got to do. Super simple. Don't just wing it, because you're going to waste years winging it.
That's actually, it's funny you say that, because we had a testimonial from Oliver, who said something very similar. He basically said, I wish I could find, hold on, I'm going to find it real quick, because he said something very similar to that. Here, look at how quickly I found this, because I Googled, or I like controlled F'd it. So Oliver said something very similar. He said, I was initially hesitant about purchasing since I thought I'd comfortably figure out brand deals as I went through my first 5 to 10 deals. But after going through the course, I realized that it would have taken years to learn some of these lessons, meanwhile leaving thousands on the table due to being ignorant. So mic drop, there we go. Oliver said exactly that, what you just said, which is that, you know, sometimes like if you're wanting to get a shortcut to like learning, to really avoiding a lot of the mistakes that, believe me, the foundations of what I'm teaching are because my wife and I made every mistake in the book, literally over the last 10 years, you know, been on YouTube for 14 years, but last, you know, 10 plus years doing brand partnerships for the most part. Like if you want to avoid those, then I would definitely suggest taking the course. And as a reminder, enrollment is ending on Sunday, March 5th at midnight. So, or 11 p.m. Pacific. I can't remember exactly what, I think it's midnight. But I would love to see you in there. And so we have a few minutes left here. So any of y'all who are in the chat, if you have any questions about the program, please drop it in the chat. Would love to answer your questions. Hope you found this live stream helpful today. Dee and I love talking about this program, because it's like everything, like we teach it 3 times a year, but like in between each cohort, we're like plotting and planning for the next one. Case in point is Dee and I just put the finishing touches on this amazing new resource that has never been available before, which is a 26-page handbook that's like a supplementary downloadable kind of ebook that goes along with the course to help distill the learnings. And man, I'm just so stoked for that as well, Dee. And again, this is like something available to alumni now too, as well, not just new students. So I don't know about you, Dee, but I'm pretty stoked about that one.
Yeah, the handbook is super exciting. Very helpful for creators who have different learning styles, who kind of like to have a summary of things, or just like an easier way to navigate like all the many pieces of resources that we provide when you join the course. It's definitely going to be amazing, and I'm really excited about it. I also wanted to highlight a comment that came in earlier from Ashley. Ashley was saying that she noticed an increase in brands wanting placements and having pretty big budgets similar to the holidays, and maybe even more. And then Ashley also said up later that, let me see if I can find it. The best part about niche creators is that you can learn to negotiate some huge brand deals. So for those of you who have like a very unique niche, for those of you who have smaller numbers, your numbers seem small to you, but those numbers can look big to the brand, because if you have 1,000 subscribers and you think, wow, it's so little compared to that other creator that you're comparing yourself to, first of all, stop. You're not helping yourself by comparing yourself to anyone else.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to set yourself up for failure. But also, you have 1,000 people who are interested in that one specific thing that's your niche. And that is super powerful to bring to a brand. Because if you have 5,000 subscribers and you're doing, you know, wigs and beauty, but only 1,000 of those people actually buy wigs and beauty products, those numbers aren't really going to look too good for you, because the brand is going to assume that all 5,000 would be interested, where in part, like, there's only 1,000. So having that 1,000 who are there for that specific purpose is even more valuable for your business. So there's good in the small numbers. I'm a small numbers person too, and I've had nothing but success because of my small numbers. And I rank number 1 for so many search terms, and I have small numbers. Like, don't ever compare yourself to anyone else, because your journey is going to look a lot different than someone else's. But the journey that you take is going to be yours, and it's up to you to really just keep working at it, because there's going to be a day you look back and you say, wow, like, look at all the great that I've done, right? But if you're not at that point yet, what can you do to help yourself get there? Because hoping that it happens for you like it happened for someone else is really just not going to work. I've tried it, full transparency, and it didn't work. So just know that if you believe in yourself, if you're willing to put in that work, there's so much good that can come from that. And there's also good in having small numbers. There really is a lot of good in that.
Just real quickly, I mean, Costco Canada videos. Interesting. Literally the first six search rankings, someone I know. That's so interesting. But literally, I mean, this is how intentional. This is how intentional.
And that happened before 8,000 subscribers.
Yes. So this is how intentional Dee was. She wanted to own this search term from an SEO perspective, so that when she is going out and pitching brands who sell their products in Canada, Costco Canada, she can say, oh, by the way, I literally rank for the first 6 rankings on Google search for this term. So if you are selling your products in Costco Canada, you better work with me. How compelling is that pitch? But this strategy took a year plus to actually implement, right? This is how strategic you have to be. And this is a lot of the stuff we talk about in the program, right, Dee?
Definitely. It's all the long game, right? Again, it's not the get rich quick scheme. It's not, do this and you'll gain this in overnight, right? This is do this now and your future self is going to thank you for it, because there is good that's going to come from it, right? So help yourself, help your future self. I'm so proud of myself, but also I'm more proud of the person I was a year ago, who sat herself down and said, this is going to be your time. This is going to be your time. It's no longer going to be, I'm here for everyone else's time. This is going to be your time. And being able to own that this is your time is the one thing that's going to stop you from waiting to succeed. You can start succeeding now.
Heck yes, you can. And look, can I flex for a second here, Dee? How much to charge for a brand deal? What's that first ranking there? Who's that?
Who is that at that number 1 spot?
Who is that, y'all? Right. So it's like, again, like this works like this was an intention as well. It's like, for Creator Wizard, I want to start ranking for search terms that are valuable to my business. Right. So I can serve more creators. Right. How much should you be charging for brand deals? What's the other one? Do you need a influencer manager? I think that's the search term that I rank for. There we go. Boom. Do you need an influencer manager or an agent? So it's like, we as sponsorship coaches, this is something that we're helping with creators too. So it's like, these types of SEO strategies, there's so much beyond like, oh, what is SEO as a creator? But like, this can be so powerful for your sponsorship strategy, because you can start to, illustrate to prospective partners that, you want to partner with Creator Wizard. You want to partner with DNFam, because we are influential amongst, people who are searching for these types of things and searching for products and services that can help them along their journey, right? Regardless of kind of what your niche you're in. So I don't know. I feel like this was kind of a mic drop moment, Dee. I don't know about how you feel about that, but this is beautiful. I hope y'all who tuned in today found value from this. Dee, thank you so much for hopping on here today. I always love these conversations that we have. Liz in the chat says Oliver sells it. Yes, agreed. Oliver sells it. I just pulled up the testimonial. You didn't even know I was going to do that, right, Liz? But Oliver really sells it. I think it's true. It's like if you want to go, you want to Google, search blog posts and YouTube videos and stuff. There's a lot of information out there, but like one of the value propositions I think of the program is that we curate it. It is very hands-on. It's like, if you want to get to A to B as quickly as possible, not make the mistakes, then I think Brand Deal Wizard is a great option for you in that regard. So thank you all so much for tuning in today. We had such a blast chatting about this. If you have any questions about Brand Deal Wizard, definitely shoot us a note at support@creatorwizard.com or DM D or I. We're very accessible in that regard, and hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you in the course. Hope to see you in the first live session on Tuesday. It's going to be a blast.
Yes. Thank you for having me. And it was great connecting with everyone. The chat is on fire.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to walk on real hype after this. Thank
100%.
you all so much for tuning in.
All
And
right. We'll
as
see you
Justin
all.
said,
Yes.
feel free to email me.
Oh, we got
if
April here.
Hi, April.
Hi, Dee.
You
Your
here?
star
I
has
gotta put.
entered building.
April's entered the chat. We were literally just about to sign off.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah,
want
we
to say
can't
bye,
sign off
friends.
now.
Yes.
Hi, April.
Yeah, I know. We can't sign off now. Hope you have fun at your lunch, honey.
Thank you. I'm gonna have lunch with my bestie, Nini.
Oh, I
All
bet
right,
April has
guys.
seafood.
Yes. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. See ya. Bye.